They told us the pines were cursed, that anyone who ventured too deep into the forest would hear the howls, distant at first, but then growing louder. No one had dared to test the legend for years, and for good reason. The forest had a way of disorienting people, making them lose track of time and space until they were completely lost. But of course, we didn't listen. We ventured in, ignoring the warnings, and soon found ourselves lost. My friends Emma, Greg, and I thought it was all just superstition. The three of us had spent years hiking and exploring, laughing off every ghost story and urban myth we'd come across. But this time, we made a grave mistake. The Howling Pines were exactly what they sounded like. A vast, thick forest filled with massive pine trees that stretched endlessly toward the sky. We entered at midday, just after lunch, full of energy and excitement. The birds were chirping, the wind was calm, and the air smelled like fresh pine. Nothing unusual. We figured we'd take a short hike and turn back before dark. But as the afternoon wore on, things began to feel very off indeed. The pines began to grow thicker, their trunks taller and closer together, blocking out the sunlight in places. The path we had been following disappeared entirely. We kept walking, trying to ignore the growing feeling that we were being watched closely. By the time the sun dipped low in the sky, we could hear it. First a faint sound, then clearer with every step. The howling. It was distant like wolves in the wild, but somehow wrong. The sound seemed to echo from all around us, filling the empty spaces between the trees. It was haunting. I nodded. It's probably just some coyotes or something. We should keep going. Greg, it's not coyotes. I've never heard anything like that before. We need to be careful. The howling grew louder, much louder, until it felt like it was right behind us. We spun around, but there was nothing there. Just more trees, the endless pines stretching into the darkness. Emma, Vio, we need to leave right now. But when we tried to turn back, the path was gone. The entire forest seemed to have shifted around us. The trees had closed in, blocking every possible exit. That's when we realized it wasn't just the howling. There were shapes in the distance, figures moving between the trees, tall and thin, too tall for humans, their movements jerky and unnatural. They were watching us. Suddenly the howls weren't just distant, they were close. Too close. A low, guttural growl cut through the air, followed by the unmistakable sound of heavy breathing. We ran. We didn't know where we were going. The trees blurred into each other, the forest shifting in impossible ways, as if it had a mind of its own, trapping us. Emma tripped, and I heard her scream, but I couldn't stop. Greg was ahead, his face twisted in panic. We finally burst out into a clearing, but it was already too late. The figures were there, standing just on the edge of the trees, watching us with glowing eyes. Their mouths opened, and the howling began again. But this time, it was more of a scream that sounded almost human, echoing through the trees. Greg ran, but the ground seemed to move beneath us. Every step we took felt slower, heavier, like the forest was pulling us back in. I looked at Emma and saw the terror in her eyes, the same terror I felt inside. We made it out somehow, sprinting through the night, the howls following us every step of the way. But when we reached the town, the forest was silent again. No howling, no shapes, just the empty woods that had never felt so innocent before. We never spoke of it again. But every time I pass near the pines, I swear I can still hear the howling, calling us back there. Have you ever felt lost, confused, and watched by something unseen? Beware, there are things in the dark that few have seen and lived to tell the tale. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and follow us for more. Join us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and Blue Sky for more bone-chilling chronicles. If you dare, stay tuned for more.